Hello learners! You're still tuning in at 88.5 Z Radio, Siguradong Lingaw, Siguradong Kuyaw, with the program Radyo Z-eskwela, kung saan ang pag-aaral ay siguradong masaya. Today, we are going to discuss another informative topic for Agri-Fishery Arts, with a specialization on organic agriculture production in situ. Again, I'm your teacher for today, Teacher CHARISSE, from the haven of top performers and future leaders, San Miguel National High School. Okay, before we will start, kindly get your learning materials. Prepare your paper and ballpen as well for the different activities. At this moment, let us set our mind first with the following learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, 90% of the learners will be able to: first, locate and identify different raw materials that can be processed as liquid farm inputs. Second, produce liquid farm input, specifically the fermented plant juice or FPJ. And last, appreciate the value of fermented plant juice in organic farming. Kindly open your learning materials on page 4 and answer Activity 1. Instruction. Read each question carefully. Select the letter that corresponds to the best answer and write it on your paper. Number 1. Principle of organic agriculture, which aims to maintain a healthy soil, plants, animals, and human, a healthy planet as a whole. A. Principle of health. B. Principle of ecology. C. Principle of fairness. And D. Principle of care. Okay, the correct answer is A. Principle of health. Number 2. This refers to principle of agriculture, which means equity, respect, and justice for all living things. A. Principle of health. B. Principle of ecology. C. Principle of fairness. And D. Principle of care. So the correct answer is letter C, Principle of fairness. Number 3. Organic agriculture should be based on living ecological systems and cycles. Work with them, emulate them, and help sustain them. What principle of organic agriculture is being referred? A. Principle of health. B. Principle of ecology. C. Principle of fairness. And D. Principle of care. The correct answer is very good. Letter B, Principle of ecology. Number 4. Organic agriculture should be managed in a precautionary and responsible manner to protect the health and well-being of current and future generations and the environment. A. Principle of health. B. Principle of ecology. C. Principle of fairness. And D. Principle of care. So the correct answer is yes. The correct answer is letter D. Principle of care. Number 5. It is a combination of various ingredients, usually herbs, spices, condiments, powdery substances or minerals mixed up together, means dissolved or macerated into liquid so as they can be ingested or drunk. A. Fermented plant juice. B. Fermented fruit juice. C. Concoctions. And D. Fish amino acid. The correct answer is letter C. Concoctions. So how was your score? Congratulations to those who got perfect score. And for those scores which are low, you can evaluate yourself to see which portion of the previous modules you did not understand. In your previous modules, you have learned the 4 principles of agriculture: the principle of health, principle of ecology, principle of fairness, and principle of care. These principles are the roots from which organic agriculture grows and develops. What do you think is the connection between the 4 principles of organic agriculture in producing organic concoctions and extracts? Yes, very good. In order to adhere with these principles, organic farming practitioners practice producing farm liquid inputs or concoctions in replacement for the synthetic inputs commonly used in farms. Let us now discuss the different organic concoctions and extracts. In organic agriculture, we have 8 concoctions involved. Number 1, the fermented plant juice, or popularly known as FPJ. The concoction that is best for plants and best for microbes too. This concoction is obtained from extract of different plant materials and fermented for 7 days. The second concoction is the fermented fruit juice, or the FFJ. This is known as the Power Pack Health Drink. This concoction, or FFJ, is made from sweet, ripe fruit, fruit vegetables, and root crops. These are thoroughly blended with molasses and stored for a short period of time. The third concoction in organic agriculture is the fish amino acid, that is considered as the fast-acting abono. Fish amino acid is made from spoiled fish and fish trash such as bone, head, internal organs, and skin, fermented with molasses. The fourth concoction is the tea manure. This is the micronutrient pack liquid. Tea manure is the resulting tea after soaking partially dried sheep, cow, or horse manure in water for 1 week. We also have the OHN, or the Oriental Herbal Nutrients. This concoction is considered as a natural immune booster. OHN is a mixture of edible, aromatic herbs extracted with alcohol and fermented with brown sugar. It is used to discourage the growth of anaerobic, potentially pathogenic microbes and encourage beneficial aerobic microbes in soil and on plants. Sixth on the list is the calcium phosphate or CalPhos. This is a concoction made from eggshells, bones, and vinegar that is rich in natural minerals like calcium and phosphorus. We also have the LABS or the lactic acid bacteria serum. This powerful bacteria can be used as tonic for livestock to aid feed efficiencies and eliminate some toxins. It is very effective in cleansing a wide range of foul odors, anaerobic compost, septic tanks, and others. The last concoction in organic agriculture is the indigenous microorganisms or the IMO. This concoction is useful in removing bad odors from animal waste, hastening decomposition, and contributing to crops' general health. You now have an idea about the 8 concoctions involved in organic farming. The first 3 concoctions, which is the fermented plant juice, fermented fruit juice, and the fish amino acid, is considered as the basic concoction. For today's activity, we will focus on the process of producing the fermented plant juice. But before that, let us have a short introduction on what fermented plant juice is. Fermented plant juice, or popularly known as FPJ, is a concoction that is considered best for plants and best for microbes too. FPJ is made from auxiliary buds and young fruits, fast-growing plants, and young leaves of plants. These are mixed with crude sugar or molasses, fermented in 7 days, after which juice is extracted and stored. In choosing of raw materials for FPJ, we must consider the following things. Number 1, choose those that are young and fresh. So usually, it is advisable or recommended to gather materials early in the morning while the plant materials are still fresh. Second, it must be free from insect pests and diseases. The raw materials must also be free from chemical contaminants. Since we are producing organic products, chemical inputs or synthetic chemical must be avoided. The last or the fourth consideration in choosing of raw materials for FPJ is it must be abundant in your area or locality for you to have easy access on the source of the raw materials. In making FPJ, we need the following: the personal protective equipment or the PPE, which includes face mask, disposable gloves, hairnet, and apron. We also need several raw materials such as kangkong, kamote tops, and banana stalk. In making FPJ, plant materials must be at least 3 kinds. And if the kangkong, kamote tops, and banana stalk is not available, you can have alugbati, malunggay, bamboo shoots, and other fast-growing plant. Another raw materials is the molasses. Can be substituted with brown sugar and kinugay. We also need the following tools and materials: basin, plastic pail, chopping board and knife, wooden ladle, nylon screen and stone, marking pen and masking tape, and manila paper or rubber band and string. Before we ended our discussion last time, together with your partner, I assigned you to bring different materials. Did you bring it with you? Okay, I will give you 5 minutes to prepare all your materials and we will proceed with the demonstration. Stay tuned at 88.5 Z Radio. We will be right back.
The Radyo Z-eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
Are you now ready for the hands-on? Okay, very good. Before doing the process of fermented plant juice, you must make sure that you already prepared the materials needed in doing the process. Make sure that your workstation or work area is clean. Raw materials to be used are cleaned and free from synthetic chemicals. Tools and materials are free from contamination and are sanitized as well. Making FPJ involves several steps. Step 1. Collect plant materials. Collect the plant materials early in the morning while they are fresh and the microorganisms are still present. The second step is to weigh the raw materials. It is important to weigh the plant materials in consideration of the recommended ratio for FPJ. The recommended ratio is 2:1, which means in every 2 kg of plant materials, it will be mixed with 1 kg of molasses. To simplify the calculation, Just add the quantity of your plant materials and divide it by 2. The resulting number would be the quantity or amount of molasses. For today's activity, we have prepared 250 grams of kamote tops, 250 grams of kangkong, and 500 grams of banana stalk. A total of 1,000 gram or 1 kilogram of plant materials. So, we need 500 grams or half kilo molasses to complete the mixture. The third step is to clean and wash plant materials and drain for 5 minutes. You must clean the plant material, especially when you bought it from the market, to remove the synthetic chemicals. If you get your plant materials from the farm, you can skip this step. Since the materials we prepared were cleaned and washed already and drained for 5 minutes, let's proceed to step number 4. Step 4 is to slice to an inch size. After draining, slice the plant material to an inch size for easy extraction of juice. You don't really need to measure it in an exact 1 inch size. Just see to it that it reaches approximately inch size. Just a simple reminder, be careful in using sharp knife to avoid injury. You must do the chopping of plant materials in a careful manner. You can put the chopped materials in the plastic pail to be mixed with molasses later on. Make sure the knife you are using is clean and free from contaminants such as rust and others. A sharp knife is needed to easily cut the plant materials into the desired sizes. Chopping of materials takes most of your time when doing fermented plant juice. We need to cut the plant materials to easily extract the juice and for the materials to be easily covered with molasses. Therefore, will undergo equal fermentation. When you are done chopping, then let's proceed to the next step. The 5th step is to add molasses and mix thoroughly. Since we have 1 kilogram of plant materials, we will add half kilo of molasses to complete the mixture. Using wooden ladle, mix the mixture in one direction only. Mix it properly until all the plant materials were covered with molasses. Molasses is the dark and slightly sweet byproduct of sugar making process. In Compostela, you can buy molasses at 33 pesos per kilo. In the absence of molasses in your locality, you can use alternative products such as brown sugar and kinugay. Molasses is an important ingredient in producing FPJ. It is responsible for the extraction of phytochemicals which can be found in vegetables. Step number 6. Put nylon screen on top of the mixture and put 5 to 8 pieces of stone as sinker. The purpose of this step is to make sure that all plant materials were covered with molasses or soaked with molasses to ensure equal fermentation. If there are plant materials which are not soaked with molasses, there's a possibility that the fermentation is not equal. For step number 7, wipe the mouth of the plastic pail to remove dirt or excess molasses that sticks at the side of the pail to avoid contamination. The 8th step is to cover with Manila paper and tie with rubber band or string. Manila paper is used as cover to allow some air to get inside the pail and for the gas that is being produced during the fermentation process to escape. If there's no rubber band available, you can use string to tie the cover. Put markings on the masking tape bearing the following: date of fermentation, date of harvest, quantity of concoction, and kind of concoction. For our output today, the date of fermentation would be 11/23/2020. The date of harvest is 11/30/2020. So the quantity of our FPJ is 1 kilogram. For the 10th step, keep it in a cool, dark room for 7 days for fermentation. Since we started with a clean workstation, after conducting the procedure, clean the workstation again. I will give you 10 minutes to clean your working area.
The Radyo Z-eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
So how are you after the demonstration? Did you follow the procedures? We can see if you follow it correctly after 7 days. After 7 days, we will harvest your concoction. That is the time we can identify if we done it correctly or not. So, as we wait for that 7 long days, please get your ballpen and paper for this activity. As an assessment, read each statement carefully. Arrange them into the correct sequence in producing fermented plant juice. Write letter A for the first step, B for the second step, and so on. Write your answer in your paper. Number 1. Keep in a dark, cool room for 7 days. Number 2. Clean and wash plant materials. Drain for 5 minutes. Number 3. Add molasses and mix thoroughly. Number 4. Wipe the mouth of the plastic pail. Number 5. Put markings on the masking tape as label. Number 6. Weigh all the raw materials. Number 7. Slice to an inch size. Number 8. Put nylon screen on top and put 5 to 8 pieces of stone as sinker. Number 9. Cover with manila paper and tie with rubber band. And number 10. Collect plant materials. The correct answer is for number 1, 10. Number 2, 3. Number 3, 5. Number 4, 7. Number 5, 9. Number 6, 2. Number 7, 4. Number 8, 6. Number 9, 8. And number 10, 1. Did you arrange the steps correctly? Wow! I'm glad to know that you understand the correct procedure in making FPJ. I guess that would be all for today. See you again our next session. This is Teacher CHARISSE saying thank you and goodbye. Keep safe, everyone.
Radyo Z-eskwela Executive Committee. The School's Division Superintendent, Eufemia T. Gamutin, CESO 5. Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Romel R. Handayan. OIC Curriculum Implementation Division Chief, Karina S. Frasco. School Governance and Operations Division Chief, Dr. Ruben J. Riponte. Members: Cecilia Morales, Dr. Hilda A. Opeña, Dr. Arlene B. Lim, Dr. Eldecris B. Calzadora, Dr. Dexter A. Siquinia, Nohara O. Pinute, Noemi P. Canales, Dr. Grace D. Pontillas, Virgilito C. Pabrices, Juanito Lapiceros, Engineer Norberto S. Manlangi, Jomar M. Dumupoy, Bob Daylan S. Milabat, Medard T. Ampit, and Paz Eugenia Villusino. Technical Working Committee, Productions and Communications, Lorely E. Quijano, Given G. Hinampas, Judyland T. Yu, Donna D. T. Bolifer, Mary Rose N. Resma, Riven Manuel, Irene Lea C. Manguhon, and Bessie Aya N. Banias. Social Media and Packaging Team, Christian Anhara L. Martesio, William R. Ranara, Joan T. Iscoton, Roberto S. Acusar Jr., May B. Istaniol, Richard H. Arellano, Lee L. S. Blanco, Ralph A. Tabanyag, Angelo Gutierrez Jr., and Jade Karen Araiz.